So I imagine you have, whatever your journey is, you have decided that you would like to adopt. So the first thing to do is to get online and have a look at a few local authorities and a few agencies and decide who you contact. What I found was that the agencies were inclined to deal with the children that the local authorities couldn't place. So I felt it was probably better to go straight to the local authorities. You're more likely to get easier children in terms of their history, and possibly younger as well. So I'm not saying that's true, but that's what I seem to find. So I went to local authorities. For me, I called a few people who just didn't sound keen or didn't sound that interested, and I just didn't like the feel of them. So I called around, and then actually a friend of mine ended up putting me in touch with someone, and I think having somebody to call was a massive deal. It felt personal, having a name. And even though she didn't end up being the person who was in charge of us, I think having that initial name was a big deal. So if there's any way you can think of anyone who could help you with a contact, it's not the contact, it was more for me psychologically having someone to phone and having a name. It did make a difference. Even though I just ended up in a process, it made actually no difference to my process that I knew somebody. So hunt around, look around. And when you do get hold of them, you'll be invited to an introductory evening or sort of talk. And at that, they'll just run through the process with you. They'll tell you what they're looking for. And at the end of that, they say to you, go away, have a think. And if you're interested, give us a call and register your interest. So that's fine. That's what you need to do. But I would say, quite importantly, when you do phone and register your interest, you're likely to be on a 20-minute phone call in which they'll find out the very basics to see whether they go ahead with a home visit. Now, those are really important. So you need to just know, you need to have your story prepared up front as to why you're adopting, what you have to offer, what your situation is, whether you have a spare bedroom, whether you're able to take time off work, finances. There's a few questions they'll ask, and they're really just seeing whether you're worth pursuing. So don't go into that phone call without having thought about what you're going to say, because from the minute you make that phone call, you are in a process and you are being judged is a bit of a hard word, but you are being assessed. Now, after that, when you've had that phone call, they'll decide whether or not to go ahead with you. And that's when there'll be a home visit. Usually 2 assessors, social workers will come and visit you at home, if it's single or partner. And that really, what I found out afterwards was that home visit, that very initial home visit, was pretty much where they decide if you're a resource for them or not. When you're going through the process, you think every single meeting there is, every single visit to your house, every single thing you hand in, you think every one, you're just about to be kicked out, you're just about to be told no, sorry. Actually, I now think that's not true at all. I think that phone call, when you fulfill some criteria, which is followed by a home visit if you're worth pursuing, after that, they decide whether you're a resource. If they decide you are a resource, their actual job isn't to constantly judge you and kick you out the process. It's actually to prepare this PAR report on you. This is the report that goes to panel. This is the assessment report in which you either get to be approved to be an adopter or not. But what the social worker's doing is every single visit and every single meeting with you is in order to prepare that report. So unlike what you're going to think, which is every single one is a new judgment of you and you're just about to be kicked out, in fact, every single meeting is in order to do that report for you. So once they've decided you are a resource, they're actually finding ways to make your case for adoption as strong as possible. So it's really worth bearing that in mind in terms of your own anxiety and stress and apprehension.